Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to record a quick video on grappling, pummeling, overbear, push, and disarm for our Roll20 game and how to actually go through the process of doing that. So I am currently using the Unearthed Arcana System 2 rules for pummeling and overbear and grappling. I did add the push as a extra thing. I just kind of homebrewed that, but overbear and then so let me take you into the game. So to do this, you're going to obviously click on the chat sheet and you'll see all the options. You'll see pummel, grapple, overbear, disarm, grenade, and push. So grenade is that's going to be a separate thing, but uh, these are going to be used, or they're more considered to be weaponless combat. You can do a push with one hand or whatnot, but that's same thing with pummel. But generally these are can be considered weaponless. So if you don't have any weapons, or if uh, you can push with a shield if you want to, but that's how these will work, and they work similar to other attacks. So when you want to pummel someone, so this would be your punch, your grapple would be just to hang on to someone, and then overbear was if you want to try to knock someone down, and then obviously disarm if you have a longer weapon, then you can disarm another opponent. So we'll do pummel first. So let's say we'll do Gabe. He is going to try to do a pummel attack on Fenwick. We'll do Gabe and do pummel. So it's going to choose a target. I'm going to pick Fenwick. That takes you to the menu. So there's a couple menus here, and so it measures the strength of the attacker. So you get bonuses for that. And then if the target's undead, so if you click any of these on the right, it's gonna tell you that they're not eligible. So if they're a vegetable, you can't um, pummel a vegetable. So these are kind of your uh, these are your presets. So you can just normally, in most cases, you can just skip these. But if the target is the same size or smaller, or if it's larger, you hit no. If the target's prone, so that's your startup, and then for the modifiers, from here you can actually just roll your pummeling attack. So if you're throwing an object or into melee, it'll work all that. But if you do the modifiers, there's a lot here. So it has all of your stats at the top, so you can kind of skip that. So currently, it's going to ask you the size, um, which is medium, and then the object that you're planning on using. And so if you're just using a fist, you're going to use a small soft, or if you're throwing a small object, then you use that. If it's a large object, such as a body, you're throwing someone across the room, or a hard object like a table or a chair, you're going to click that. And then you can choose how exposed the enemy is. So let's say that Fenwick is, he's got leather armor. Um, so cat. So he's going to be considered semi-exposed, maybe. Okay, and then this will roll a stun chance. So if you're doing a second pummel later, you can click on this, and it will give you bonuses. Then there's a 20% chance he could stun him, and then if you'd like, you can do subdual damage if you don't want to kill him. So these are your options. So let's say that he's going to throw a table or a chair at Fenwick. So if Fenwick is by himself, he'll just throw object. If he's in a group, throw into melee, and you just do a regular pummel attack. So let's say we're going to throw an object. So it'll roll that, and then it will give you your output. says the thrown pummeling object missed resolved as grenade-like missiles. So the scatter, so the distance from the target is 15 feet, so it traveled 15 feet in direction 2. The way that these direction is, if you have a box, and then the first one is the far left upper, and then you go the second one, the third one, and then down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So so the target is in the middle. And so a direction 2 would be top, left, middle. So it would be kind of maybe just over his head. And then it will test to see, there'll be a roll to see if the object survives. So that's going to be for wood, it's hard wood. And so it survives. So that's that click. Now, if you throw into melee, then it'll tell you where the object goes, and then you can re-roll it. If you want to just do a pummel attack, so you're using a chair, and so it's going to be the object will. So it tells you that the object will break, um, and so it's just a regular attack. Now there is the punch attack that is your standard 1 speed attack. That's a little bit different. But this once a character is stunned, if another attack, you get a bonus if you pummel them again. So that is pummeling. The next one is grapple. So this is first you're going to get a choice here whether you want to grapple a target, or if you are grappled, you can try to escape. So we're gonna grapple Fenwick, and here's the menu. So these are your standard settings here. So if anything is it'll tell you if you're eligible. If there's so this is just kind of a checklist. So in the book, the rules are you've got to have a certain criteria in order to do this, and then um, you can also have helpers. So you could have so in this particular case, he's able to have 3 additional grapplers. So if you declare on your actions that you're going to help um, Gabe grapple Fenwick, you can add that 3, and it's going to give you a bonus for every. Now, if you're using one hand, so let's say that Gabe has a shield, so we'll just give that, and then he's got somebody helping him, so it's going to give you a bonus. So you roll the grapple, and it'll tell you if you make it or don't. Then it shows you your modifiers. Also, if you want to try to escape, so it'll give you an escape check here. So it'll tell you if you escape. All right. And then the next thing is Overbear. That is when a number of creatures will try to, one or more creatures try to bring you down. So you pick a target, and so you're gonna choose Gabe's the attacker, so he's a medium-sized creature, and then the target is gonna be, we'll say he's medium, and then I tell you how many feet. There's 2 legs, and then if there's additional attackers, you can have up to in this situation you can have up to 6. If they're if the target is prone, then you'll have more options. You can pile on more, but they can have up to 6 of these. So every time you add in a creature that is going to bring them down, that's going to be better your chances. So then you can roll that, and it'll tell you the outcome. Target is knocked prone, no damage, so it could inflict damage. So that will be your Overbear. Go back to the character sheet. So the next one is Disarm, and we're going to pick the target. So again, the attack matrix, it just tells you your armor class and whatnot, and then you have the attacker weapon length, so 1 through 6, and then obviously the shorter the weapon, a knife would be 1, and then if you hover over these, it'll tell you what size. There's only so many eligible weapons that you can use to disarm someone, so the target weapon. So as long as the attacker weapon is longer than the target weapon, then if you're not sure, you can always use the weapon speed targeting where it'll tell you what the weapons are if you're not sure. So then eligibility stuff, again, everything is preset here. It's assuming that you can do it, and then you roll to disarm, and it will roll that, tell you, so you got a 20. So modified roll is 22. So the damage, no damage is inflicted. Defender must save versus petrification. So we'll automatically roll um, that save, and then he failed it. So the weapon was knocked 8 feet away, and the tells you where the location of it, and then how it says that. And the note here is that the former wielder must spend a round to recover it. Back to the sheet. So that's if you're trying to disarm. But with that, like I said, it's only certain weapons. So knife, dagger, mace, horseman's mace, sword, um, short sword, mace, footman's mace, um, long swords seem to be sword, broad, long, falchion, and clopish. Those are all eligible weapons to disarm. Um, and then also you have to be a fighter, and then we're not using currently cavalier, but that's a requirement in order to do this. So you can't just be a magic user and try to disarm someone. And you have to be you have to be proficient with the weapon, and then there has to be a weapon obviously that'd be disarmable. So if it's attached or something, obviously it's not going to happen. That's common sense. Go back to the character sheet, and then you have the push. Now this is something that I've added in, and so if you're using a shield, you get a bonus for that. If you're charging from 10 feet away, you get a bonus. So if you're so you can do the charge action, and then you can get these bonuses here. So just click on those, and it will add those into your attack. And then if you have more than one charging, you can add those in. For the defender, if the defender has more than 2 legs, it's going to be tougher. If the defender is using a shield, if you have defenders that are resisting, so if you have 4 defenders that are resisting the push, and then you have maybe 4, so you have those are modifiers, so it's going to add those in. And then for a successful push, um, all right, so we're going to do it again until we actually get a success. Come on. That's not happening. Okay, there it is. All right. So on this particular, it has a roll table, and the higher the modified table result. So obviously, um, the more modifiers that you have against, the better the result. It's going to be. It's going to add. There's a table that it rolls on, and the table in this case is a pretty good result because it's an 8 plus 8. So he got pushed away 10 feet and then falls prone, takes 2 points of damage. So depending on the how even the attack is, you'll so let's go back to the push menu. I wonder if I don't have any rules. I was going to show you the table, but this is a nice feature to have when you're trying to push somebody off a ledge, or that. And I think somebody like Gabe is going to be able to, because they have a strength. You get bonuses for that. So someone like that's going to definitely be able to push. So I'll go back to, let's see what happens when Gab tries to push Gabe. All right, so he's going to do push. And push Gabe. And let's see. Yeah, so his strength is really weak. 2 legs, defenders resisting. He is let's see, defender is using a shield. We'll roll the push. And he did oh jeez. Okay, so it looks like I got a 16. And so on the push table, modifier is a -2. So it's not going to be a good push. It's going to be 5 feet away, no damage. That's probably one of the worst things that, as far as your successful outcome is. So he's got a strength of 8. He's not going to do a lot of damage, or he's not going to push hard. But the higher that modifier is, the better you're going to do. Let's go back to Gabe here, and I think that is it. Um, So these are things that you guys can be aware of as options. So you definitely try to use these. Um, they'll add some flavor and whatnot to the game. But I think it's gonna end the discussion for today, and I will be with you again soon.